Honeybees are dying at alarming rates, and no state lost a greater percentage of its bee population over the past year than Oklahoma. I spoke with StateImpact Oklahoma reporter Logan Layden about what's killing the bees and what the deaths tell us about Oklahoma's ecosystem. Logan, what is killing the bees?
Well, you've got monocropping is a big problem. This is the practice of farming, having one crop over a large area. This wasn't the case in the past. Pesticides is also a big problem for bees. Also something called the varroa mite, and it came from Asia in the 1990s, and this is in most bee colonies in the United States. It's terrible for the bees. Those are problems across the country for bee colonies. What made it so much worse in Oklahoma over the last year was the drought.
Now the drought has been broken. Is there any increase in the number of bees?
Well, the bee experts I talked to are expecting in Oklahoma to see less bee losses as we come around to next April. Every April is whenever they take a look at these numbers. So the fact that it's rained so much should help quite a bit here in Oklahoma.
How severe is the problem?
Well, the problem is pretty bad. There are new resistant bees that are resistant to these mites that are coming through. They're not being widely used yet, though, and the farming practices hurt them very badly. The thing that's interesting to know about these bees is they're not wild. If you see a honeybee in your backyard, that's part of a managed hive somewhere. Beekeepers have the bees and they work for us. They take them all over the country to pollinate crops, and the concern is that it would become too expensive because of the high amount of bee losses for these commercial beekeepers to stay in business, and that would start to affect crop yields and eventually the food chain. That's the big concern, but there is hope.
And the price of honey.
Right, yes, exactly.
So what's the hope?
Well, the hope is that these new mite-resistant bees get out there, that the farmers use better farming practices, less monocropping, but you know, the clock is ticking, and it's, you know, will these new practices be in place before the commercial beekeepers get hurt too bad? There's already several of them that have gone out of business over the last several years.
So given that, what does the future look like?
Well, it looks like we're going to have continued bee losses, not so bad going into the future. This has been a problem over the last decade, but looking ahead, there is a lot of hope. The real concern is beyond the commercial beekeepers, or wild bees. There are hundreds of species of wild bees. There was a study earlier this week about bumblebees that looked at how many of their species have gone extinct because of climate change and these same factors that are affecting the honeybees. But the honeybees have the advantage of man repollinating every year and artificially keeping their numbers up.
All right, you'll be watching that at StateImpact Oklahoma, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Logan Layden, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.